then freshman Will Mackey back in 2016 when the Gamecocks upsetted Tennessee, who came to Williams-Brice ranked 18 in the land. And Mr. Mackey is here with us. We also have Perry Orth, who, as you see, these two know each other quite well. At least that was the only time they spoke with each other. This will be the second time they've ever spoke. So we will get to that in just a little bit. But if you're not familiar with this happened 5 years ago, the 5-year anniversary. And although the game is not at Williams-Brice this weekend, why not keep the legend of Will Mackey alive? So Will, explain to people that have never heard this story and what happened that day, because it was a one-man band storm session.
Well, I think, in the words of University of South Carolina, it wasn't so much storming the field as a one-person trespassing. But luckily, we got through that. But I remember when I was on the field and I was running and I, finally kind of realized I was the only one out there. It was a pretty isolated feeling. And I just remember a blur of these black jerseys flying by as I'm in an all-out sprint. And then all of a sudden, about 20, 30 yards up, the only thing I can see crystal clear is Orth. And I said, oh, that's my boy Perry. That's my boy Perry. And I knew if anyone was excited as me, it was Perry Orth. So when I saw him, I knew I had to run up to him, had to let him know how excited we were as a fan base. And you could see how excited that he was, maybe a little confused as well, but definitely excited. And, I definitely have to thank Perry for being such a good sport about it, laughing along, because, looking back on it, I don't think that video is half as funny without seeing how confused he is at this random kid running up on him. So, I was definitely glad that he was the one person I was able to see.
And before I let Perry get to what I want him to at least what we want to hear him say, one of the things I do want to mention, though, in all this is that you've grown up in Ohio, okay, down at an SEC school. You are a freshman. I have to keep reiterating that. You are a freshman at this time. You had no clue about the policy the SEC had in place about storming the field, correct? So what's going on through your mind when you take your phone out thinking, oh my goodness, I'm leading the pack, and you look back and you're like, crap, no one's behind me?
Well, like you mentioned, being from Ohio and going to an SEC school, I loved bragging. I go to an SEC school. I go to these SEC football games. Our tailgates are best in the country. And I love bragging about that. And, like people always say, it just means more. And, I remember being on the field and looking around and seeing no one, I guess it just means more to me. And so I was out there and I wanted to celebrate.
Barry, what's going on through your mind? You guys have a big upset, biggest win at that point of the Will Muschamp era, and you have this guy on the back of you. What's going on through your mind?
We win the ball game and people are losing it. I'm pretty sure, I cannot remember exactly why I was so far behind everybody else, but I'm running down, just kind of like taking in the moment, just looking around, honestly. And I hear like the feet of like somebody running behind you. And then boom, I turned and I saw a camera and just, Barry, let's go. and I turned around and I was just kind of like, yeah, man, we won. Or I don't even remember what I said, but it was a really funny moment. I never thought that we would get a chance to talk about that. My question to you that I've always wanted to ask, since that video has been circulating over the last 5 years, who were you sitting with during the ball game, and where were you sitting, and what gave you the nerve to say, you know what, damn it, I'm hopping on that dang field and I'm gonna be the guy to storm the field?
So being a freshman and it being our first night game, I'm pretty sure, of the year, and it was against a ranked team, and we were only supposed to have like 4 wins going into the season. Kind of a breath of fresh air with Jake Bentley coming in. So it was a rejuvenated season. No disrespect, Perry, of course. Yep. And, I requested a student ticket. And of course I got the very, very upper deck being a freshman. And I was sitting with my roommate my freshman year, and we were surrounded somehow by Tennessee fans. And, of course, the entire game I'm heckling them, they're heckling me. And towards the end, we see, everyone kind of consolidating at the very bottom of the student section. And one of the Tennessee fans go, hey, if you don't get down there, you're going to miss storming the field with the rest of your, your classmates. And I was like, that's a good point. So I just took off down the, the spiral stairways to get down, and being a freshman and, maybe had, didn't mix in enough waters, as Mike would say. I got a little turned around and ended up across from the student section. And so me and my roommate were there, and I don't know if you guys remember, but to end the game, Tennessee was kicking a pretty long field goal to try and tie it up. And I knew they weren't making it. I was too excited for them to make it. And so I was talking to my roommate. I was like, hey, if he misses it, are we going? Are we going? He was like, yeah, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just go. And, looking back on it, thank God I didn't think about it, because I would have stopped myself. But I ended up on the field, and my roommate tried to actually follow me. But I guess security saw me get on, and they grabbed him and told him, you're not going with him.
So, and that's one of the most amazing part about it. You actually got onto the field. You got onto the field. We saw a couple of weeks ago, I think it was the EIU game, a student or a fan at least ran onto the field. I think a lot of people, this is during the middle of the game. I think a lot of people just thought it was a ball boy. He had a jersey on. He ran on maybe about, numbers deep. And then he hopped back into the crowd and booked it, and probably was on Bluff Road within a matter of 2 minutes. You go down there. How did that chase end? And I know, because we've had this conversation before, you lost your student tickets privileges for that year. Give us an update of what happened after that. Were you able to get student tickets for your sophomore, junior, and senior years?
I was. So the way I actually got caught was I was wearing this exact shirt. And at the time, it was the same shirt that I think the grad assistant or managers or, students that help out with the program on the field are wearing this shirt. And of course, they always wear khaki shorts with it, like I was. So I fit the part to be on the field. But I think where I really went wrong was my friends seeing me, oh, Will, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come back, come back. And I tried to climb back into the student section where all the players were and all the cops were. And so someone saw that and was like, oh, I don't think you belong down here, and pulled me back in. I told him I was a student. He took a picture of my Carolina card. I got an email the next day saying student ticket privileges were revoked. And then when I had my conduct meeting, I was talking to her and I was like, so what does this mean going forward? Like, after this season, can I request student tickets again? And she said, as soon as football season's over, I was good to go.
Now, did you go to any more games after that? Because I know you told me that you were still able to go to games if someone got you a ticket, or if you purchased one on your own outside of actually sitting in the student section. Did that happen?
I can answer that for him. I remember when I think it was the next home game, you put the mustache.
Yeah, the mustache.
Sure,
it was going viral. And I remember being on the bus. I don't remember which game we played at home next, but I remember being on the bus. That's right. It wasn't on the bus. I remember being on Twitter and seeing that, like, you messing around, like I made it back in and nobody, has any idea or whatever. And we got a pretty good kick out of that. Me and Hayden thought that was pretty funny.
So how about that? Hayden Hurst and Perry Orth enjoyed you pulling a Bobby Valentine for fans out there. Gonna wrap this thing up, but anything else you wanted? This is your opportunity, man. Second time meeting your good buddy Perry Orth. And Perry, any questions maybe you have for Will?
No, my next question was, what happened after you passed me? Then what was next? I'm assuming you didn't get arrested.
No, I didn't get arrested. The cop was actually, very kind of understanding of it. He was like, hey man, like, it was a great game, wasn't it? And I was like, yeah, and it's really cool to see the stadium from this perspective, almost as if you are a player. And he was like, oh, that's my favorite part about Saturdays. And the whole time we were just kind of, getting to know each other a little bit. And he was like, I'm sorry, I have to let, the student section kind of clear out before I let you out, just to be safe. And so he was, great about it. And honestly, I don't think the whole situation could have gone any better than it did. I'm fine with losing student ticket privileges. I went to both home games after that, and it definitely made a lifetime memory. That's for sure.
That's hilarious.
And Mike, if you don't mind, I actually do have a question for Perry.
Absolutely.
So my freshman year, I remember I was pretty much trying to goat Perry into responding to me and kind of getting some type of reaction out of him. And I've always wanted to ask if he ever saw, I think it was an interview with the school paper. And, they talked about, Perry's a D1 athlete and you ran him down. Like, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? And I was really trying to get Perry to respond, and I challenged him to a 100-yard race.
I think I remember seeing that now.
To see who could win. And I remember I got home and my roommate said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "That's a D1 athlete. I don't care what's going on. You're not beating him." And I was like, "Oh,
I did not see that."
Yeah, I figured not.
Well, I think you said you're down in Charleston. Mike said you're down in Charleston now.
Yep.
Well, we'll link up, have a few drinks. We'll do a race off down like King Street.
Yeah, I would love that.
We'll have an honorary runner, probably Steven Garcia. So he'll probably take the checkered flag regardless. I mean, you could give him 8, 9, 10, 12. He'll probably still run as if he had none in him. So
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, our mistake there would be giving him alcohol.
Yeah.
On that note, we will end it. Will Mackey, Perry Orth, the 5-year anniversary of running on the field and storming the field at Williams-Brice after upsetting the Vols in 2016. That would have been something if USC had got fined just because of one person. I would have loved to see how that would have gone for Mr. Mackey. Sorry, Will, but good thing is that didn't happen. We don't have to worry about that. But the Gamecocks taking on Tennessee this weekend. It's going to be over in Rocky Top, not going to be here at Williams-Brice. The Gamecocks will be back in action in Columbia the following week to take on Vandy. Appreciate both of you guys joining us, and we will do another episode like this in the near future.